Alrighty, here we go. Shuttle FootyCast live from BackChat Studios, built by Grounded in season 2026. ShuttleFootyCast.com.au. You want your beers, get to Shelter, shelterbrewing.com.au. Stock up for the weekend. Western Australian footy is back in a big way. First time both teams won over the weekend. And now we're on to a next weekend of footy, of course. As usual, Thursday preview, our beautiful sponsors over at Aspect Accountants will bring us the numbers. And, of course, we'll be going into the Homewise Solar guarantee of the week. I've got a bit of trumpet tooting to do as my co-host Mark Reddings joins me. Hi, Skeet.
Hello, Will. Can I just say, for God's name, if you can see what is happening in front of us, what the hell are you wearing? You look absolutely ridiculous. I know Cyclone Narelle is making her way towards Western Australia, but I've just found a picture. I think you look like a homeless walrus. That's what I've seen. I thought, that is just... You are dressed for Antarctica. What is happening in God's name?
Why are you so sort of worried about what I'm wearing?
Because it looks ridiculous. This lady wearing a T-shirt.
She doesn't care. I can tell you right, she doesn't care. You're wearing a T-shirt.
It's a bit blowy out there, but you look like you're like in the middle of Geelong in winter.
I've got to be honest. When I came in, you weren't happy. You've sort of downgraded it from a Category 4 Cyclone. you were at about a Category 6, and you've come backwards a little. You weren't happy at all.
Well, no, I was happy. I just thought I'd give you a little clip.
Yeah, and I was going to take it off because I'm hot. And I'm going to now. I thought you were sitting.
Where did you get it? Because I reckon it's really good, but for a different climate.
Well, what do you mean? What you want one?
No, I'm saying in the middle of winter in Melbourne.
Where did I get? What does it matter where I got it?
I was asking where you got it from. I
don't know. It just ends up.
You don't know.
It just ends. I don't buy my own clothes.
Clearly.
Oh, and you do. Yeah. Well, I noticed the Country Road T-shirt you're wearing right now.
Yeah, my wife used to work there.
Yeah, correct. Exactly right. Goodness me. All right, so it's the Homeless Walrus and...
Just a battler.
Yep, coming at you from the Grounded Studios here at BackChat Studios. Let's get into footy, Skeeter. You got your 17th job of the week to get to a little bit later on today. I mean, seriously... I'm just trying to get a good night's sleep, and you're messaging me, and you're going...
At 8:15, I'm messaging you.
Can we come in and do it a bit earlier? I've got to scurry off to the...
WO Footy, then I call the footy tonight, then I've got to do Perth Footy Club launch tomorrow morning. And
the what, sorry?
The team, I'm helping Barra out.
Oh, it is genuinely endless. Have you recovered from your sort of from your Bakar Kumis sort of operation you're running on?
That was embarrassing because I was actually thrown by what I'd said.
Yeah, I was thrown too.
And I was So
you're talking about comparing yourself to a prostitute on the street. Is that what you're talking about?
No, the sex worker. I think I should say. But what I will say is
that makes it better.
I've done a Pat Voss, and I think I've given the Bulldogs a call just to say apologise to...
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to move on. We're digging up.
To our mate.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so I would just like to start by sort of telling everyone how good I am. The Homewise Solar guarantee of the week. Last Thursday, Hayden Young guaranteed to miss 21 days. What? Why? So Hayden Young, he's been confirmed. He'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks, which is around the 21-day mark, inclusive of another week. It's longer than a usual hammy. Few items on this. 1, I was right. I told you so. 2, can we get a uniformed way that clubs report on injuries? It's embarrassing. It's actually now to the point of embarrassment where clubs don't give a shit about you, the fans. They don't care about any stakeholders other than themselves, which they might say, well, that's fair enough. We're trying to win games of football. Hiding and not presenting the fact that Hayden Young is going to miss with a hamstring injury that they knew last week. Don't listen to anything they say. I'm sorry, Freo. I do apologise for calling you out here. But they knew. They get the scans done within 24 hours of the game. They would have had a very, very strong understanding of what that hamstring looked like. And the fact it's on Hayden Young, even if it was a minor, or we don't know if it's a strain or not, he's missing 21 days because of his history. So, yeah, I would love us a uniform way that we, the people, can just get an idea of what's going on with injuries. Just tell us. And then I won't even talk about injuries if we just know what they are. But right now it's like, well, he could be out for 6 months. We don't know.
So you're about 37 years of age, right? I reckon I've been listening to you bang on about this for a fair while now. And I think you're going to be one of those blokes when you're 77 still talking about this. And
so you think they're never going to do this?
Oh, unless they're forced to. No. I think, Geelong, among others... I think
Geelong's an embarrassment.
There's
what they roll with, like the game day pull-out. That affects... people other than themselves. And I don't think it gains them an advantage.
Are you talking about betting or are you talking about fantasy footy?
I'm talking about Dream Team. Yep, I'm talking about fantasy. I'm talking about the fans that want to go and watch. You got a kid, right? So I know you're not happy with fantasy being pulled in there, but betting is a big market that is relevant. But you've got a kid whose favourite player is Bailey Smith. They drive. Victoria's a big place. They drive 8 hours to Geelong to go and watch Bailey Smith. Half an hour before they get there, Chris Scott goes, actually, Bailey's not playing today because we knew about it all week, but we decided not to tell you. So is that okay? Are we okay for that little kid? Are you? You just want to piss off little Johnny?
No, I'm not sure. Look, it's not done to annoy supporters.
Well, little Johnny just copped it, mate. He just copped an 8-hour drive from Sale or Moe.
It is done, I think, obviously, to try and keep the opposition guessing. That's the clear intention of it.
Goodness me. I can guarantee you if there's a rumour that Hayden Young has hurt his hamstring, the opposition have put a line straight through him. See you later. So what are we doing? Dumb. Christian Petrarca to miss a month with his hammy. He joins this massive raft of elite players this weekend gone down. Hayden Young is sort of a week late. Petrarca, Rosie, give me some more, Skeeter. Cal Archie, premiership player, he's gone.
Yeah.
Mason Redmond, he's gone. Milan Murdoch, now gone. West Coast best player, gone. That is a big. Well, I did see on the AFL website that the heads of fitness and high performance are all meeting, urgently, to discuss where this sits because we've lost a lot of good players to hamstring injuries in the same week. It's not coincidence.
It has to be the speed of the game. I'm not sure we're repeating ourselves here, but there has to be a correlation between that and the injuries. You'd expect there to be, as part of that meeting, how quick is the game? Is it, we want, look, the attractiveness of the first 3 weeks in some of the footy's been outstanding. The numbers in terms of goals, that's what the AFL wants, that's what the broadcasters want, that's what the fans want. But at what cost, I guess, is what we're going to find out. And those guys and girls who are doing the study, the S&Cs, will be able to give us an idea as to what they think the reasoning is. But yeah, big names, unfortunately, out for some time. Former
docker Dylan Robertson, among 8 more ex-players to file class action against the league and clubs for negligent exposure to concussion-related injuries. Max Rook leads that claim. There's a number of other players involved with that. Without going into details of this exact claim, because I don't know them, this is going to continue to happen, and that is why we are seeing decisions made at tribunal level, rules being changed, the AFL trying to rule on outcome over action. Now, whether that's right or wrong, that is why we're seeing what we're seeing at high club level, because they want to mitigate against the risk of being sued. That if you cut right to it. And I think that's why it's frustrating for fans and people like me at the tribunal when we see outcome-based decisions made, because you just want footy to be footy. You don't want decisions being made to exclude the AFL from a class action lawsuit. But that's why they're doing it.
I have no legal background, but let me throw this one at you. When you sign a contract to play in the AFL, a bit like when you go to a theme park and there's some of those rules and regulations or T's and C's, is there any way of putting in there that you are, to some degree, playing this game with the risk of some physical injury, be it brain, be it a concussion, be it broken leg, whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean that's called insurance, and it should be provided by the industry, and I believe for a number of years it hasn't been. So,
that seems bizarre.
So insurance, if you're talking about theme park, you'd have trip insurance. And so you have to sign the waiver, yes. But if you broke your leg on a theme park, I reckon if you had hospital cover as a part of your trip insurance, you'd be covered. That's been a big issue at AFL level. Having said that, I do think there should be an assumption of risk by players to play the game. So I am not in the basket of, well, something bad's happened to me while playing footy, whether that be mental or physical, and I want to go and sue anyone. I don't think that should be in a contract. I think it should be assumed with signing your playing contract and everything that comes with the game that it's a physical game of footy and it's a 360 game. And yes, there are risks, but it's not unknown. It's not unseen, because we don't have medical degrees. Doesn't mean I don't know when I'm playing the game that there's a risk of me being permanently injured or killed. They're actual risks.
That being said, and a guy you know pretty well, Dan Venables, who, again, concussion, it was a severe case and it was an incident that's had long-lasting ramifications. So that is, I think, almost the extreme version of what we've seen with regards to concussions in the modern-day game.
So that's what I talk about. The AFL, through insurance and other means, they should be coming into him with a fair payout. because they've caused it. Like in any industry, in the mining industry, if that happens, Rio Tinto doesn't just go to Mr. Smith, oh, you got injured on the job, see you later. They come to terms with him. So the reason that these are starting to happen is because the process and policies aren't in place that's fair. And now they're some of these players in this class action are from the 70s and 80s. So
that's going back a long time.
It is. So that becomes difficult as well. But all I'm saying is it's going to happen more and more. I probably directly just question,
the intent of some of the claimants.
Yeah, I don't know their intent, but I would say generally the intent of the league and the clubs, I would say as a whole is pretty good. Like they give a shit. And clearly back in the day, that medical resources and knowledge wasn't where it is today. So there's a fair bit of that needs to go into it. I don't know where it all sits, but yeah, I think overall I'd like responsibility hand up from the players and go I signed up to play this game. I got paid a fair bit of money to do it. But back in the 70s and 80s, they weren't.
Lawyers are going to be the ones who are getting a nice lick of the ice cream.
Well, that's how these come together. They approach players. Yeah. Those 8 players didn't get together at dinner and come up with it.
No, they would have been...
Yeah, they've sought out. Yeah, correct. Charlie Comden was let off with just a fine for the incident v Harley Reid. I think I touched on this podcast. I love that. That's action related. If that was outcome with Harley lying on the ground carrying on like a pork chop, it would have been given a week. But because the action, I think it was valid. I think you should have got away with no fine. So a little fine for Charlie. I'm happy with that, Skeet. You okay?
Look, Jacko last night on radio was adamant that if you struck the bloke in the head, which did he strike him in the head?
I don't know.
To be honest with you, Harley went to ground. I think he was either looking for a double free kick or something. He was looking for something to be added on to the goal after Yowie nailed it.
Jacko wasn't really an instigator. So he was the one people coming at him because he was such a superstar. Harley's an instigator, and I reckon if you are that, I reckon you need some back the other way. It's just like a little puppy going up to the big bull mastiff that just goes whack, like a little whip it and just calm down, little fella. I liked it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think Harley, that was a moment in that match. I reckon by and large this year, he's cut a bit of that out of his game, which I think that's maturity, and I think he's playing better footy because of it.
Well. Yeah, I agree, and he's fitter as well. He's just so much fitter, and he's playing full games in the midfield, so that plays a part. Job Shanahan takes the round 2 Rising Star nomination out. Skeet, we did touch on this on Monday. I love this. The early recipients of this are usually the ones that go on to be favourites. It's rare for someone to get a nomination in round 15 and go and poll and do well. He did play games last year, but there's a certain threshold, which I don't have in front of me, of games played. I think it was 9.
It was. So he's still categorised as a rising star. I think Jagger Smith's already been. Has he been given one for this year?
Probably should have been if he hasn't.
He's going to find himself there.
Yeah, Job. I really rate him. Really rate him as a player. They had him in front of the footy, behind the ball. Takes the ball at the highest point. Really athletic, contested marking ability, strong.
A bit suspect with ball in hand at times, as we've discussed. But
all forwards are behind the footy.
Archer Reid. CDT, if, for instance, those two developers really good key forward options, is Shanahan a bloke that can turn into a back? Because one area that the Eagles are very deficient in, I believe, is down back.
Yeah. Oh, I think you could. You'd want him probably higher. You wouldn't want him out of the goal square, I don't think. But he has trained and played as a defender, both at waffle level and trained in the preseason behind the footy. That's why they're happy putting him back there. They put Jake Waterman back there as well on the weekend.
Yes. Josh Tracy's done it for the Dockers in certain periods of the game.
You just want to be careful putting your real big dogs back there. Like Josh Tracy, I think he saved 2 games last year, but he cost them one as well. Yeah. With Mac Andrew coming past and taking a mark
in a final.
It was in a final too. Mm-hmm. So I spoke to him on the podcast on BackChat about that, and that's with him. That's at the front of his mind, that moment. So although they're great reading the footy, if a team goes and follows them, they can't defend. Like Josh Tracy, Josh Kennedy, Buddy Franklin, these guys.
Their instinct is to
they're forwards, mate.
Follow the footy.
Yeah, they don't have any. It's like we've got the blinkers on their horse out the front, like that. They're just footy, and so that's fine if you're loose. But if what a good coach would do is follow them, and then they can't defend.
Yeah, well, he saved them a game against Collingwood at the MCG.
Yes, and north?
Might have been, but certainly, yeah. Look, I think that'll continue to be used. But yeah, well done to Joe, and I think just keep playing the kid and the kids until they get a bit fatigued.
Every year, this time of year, I reckon it must be in an auto feed of some description. It comes into media inboxes and go, all right, let's fire up the grand final. When are we going to play it, chat? And we're gonna run a week of coverage on this, and then everyone's going to have their say, and then we're going to put it in the bin. Right? Do you reckon that happens? Because now, are we talking the Twilight grand final again?
Yeah, we are.
And Kylie Minogue's going to play at it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who plays it, but Kylie's been mentioned. She's living in Melbourne now, so yeah.
What's your favourite Kylie song?
Not a huge. I mean, On a Night Like This was big at the 2000 Olympics. It was a big song, big hit back then.
Which was what?
On a Night Like This was a big hit. No, I'm not going to sing it. I'm not going the falsetto again. I'm not going to.
You've just got Suspicious Minds 3 times in my ears. So.
Ronan, if you want to continue working on Channel 7's coverage, you need to remember you.
Oh, Skeeter's thrown out the Channel 7. No, no, Channel FootyCast. He's going to talk to Kerry and say, "G'day, Mr. Packer. I've got an issue."
Only joking.
Yeah, we know you're joking. You got no pull in there. Yeah, correct. Like multiple facets that you and I both share in our life. Absolutely no pull in.
So the argument I'm getting here is that traditionalists don't want to have it move, which I get. The only people it really affects are those at the ground.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And I heard Carl on radio saying the kids and going to the footy, and it's not great for getting home at a decent time. So tell me, when do we have prelim finals?
Night.
When do we have semi-finals? When do we have Thursday games, Friday games?
Yeah.
I mean, night footy is here. Now, I'm not saying we go holus bolus tonight, but I can tell you now, if there's any doubts as to whether we can have a Twilight grand final and it works, they have to look here, down the road, Optus Stadium.
Do you reckon the Super Bowl in America, do you reckon they're worried about the kids heading to the game and what time bedtime is on a Saturday? Like, they couldn't give a shit. They're just like, money, money, money.
But I've got people ringing up the radio station last night going, I want it to stay at 12:30 Perth time. I said, if you're not going to be at the game, for instance, Jerry, or whoever, does it affect your life if the match is played at 2:30 Perth time and you're still sitting in the couch doing the same thing? And you know what? The answer was almost couldn't give me anything logical to suggest why it shouldn't. Now, the reason is obviously pushed by broadcasters.
Yes.
And the numbers for the NRL Grand Final last year were above what the AFL produced. There's a couple of reasons for that, but they had Melbourne up against Brisbane, and you had New South Wales obviously invested because it was a grand final. So there are reasons behind it, but I think in general, I've got no issue with it going to a Twilight. But I know there'll be a lot of pushback. If you go to the AFL Fans Association, they'll say no. But, you could throw 10 different ideas to punters, and I don't like change either. So I get it. But when it comes to footy, things are changing every year. So just to put in the GF back 2 hours, it's not the end of the world.
My favourite Skeeter is a fired-up Skeeter when the text line starts going off at 6 PR on Wildwater Sports and they start coming at you personally.
For having an opinion.
Yeah, they're not. You weren't happy on Tuesday night. Bobby, I think, texted you and said, pull your head in, Skeeter. You fucking went off your head.
Well, he said, I'm sick of you having your opinion. I go, well, mate, I've got 2 hours to fill of sport, and if I don't have an opinion, so I thought, seriously, mate.
What?
I just thought, no, piss off.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was good. There is a significant crossover, I think, in audience as well. There's some Shot of FootyCast fans.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, I got in touch with Ash Gomes, who's going to, of course, Waffle W's back this weekend.
Yes. She's a big Shot of FootyCast fan.
I emailed about just asking a footy question to her, and she came back, says, love the stuff that we do. And I said, you mean the stupidity? She says, no, it's actually quite funny. And so, obviously, the bar's quite low with people in this state.
All right, let's get into some good stuff only, Skeeter. We've scoured the league for good stories only, Skeeter. And if you want to send in your own good stories, you can send them to us anywhere on social. Shout out FootyCast. FootyCast at BackChatStudios.com.au is our email. You can get in contact there. Ronan will get them to the front here. So the PFL, Skeeter, the Perth Footy League, to introduce upgraded camera technology and premier data analytics for A-grade matches. So we're going to have goal line technology. We're going to have statistics. We're going to have behind the goals vision.
Didn't know this.
Thanks to Premier Data, in our amateur league here in Perth. I think that's a good.
So we've got score reviews now.
I don't think we've got score reviews. We've got behind the goals cameras for stats and vision and coaching. It's taken the league to a new level. I think it's
great. I'm not sure what the cost is, but obviously the PFL. That's I'm not sure what's been the catalyst for that.
Premier Data, they're getting on board.
Jumped on board.
Bit of a deal, I reckon.
No, well played. Yeah, that's good. And look, obviously, it's a popular comp, the PFL. I wonder if the WAFL will get that sort of technology going. But yeah, that's huge.
Yep, very good. Chris Sherry, who had a brilliant debut for Fremantle.
Oh, Sherry, yeah.
He travelled 32 people across to Perth for his debut. Of course, was playing amateur football in South Australia last year. He played in an amateur premiership last year, and now he's running around. I think he had 17 or 18 touches.
Looks right at home.
Yeah, correct. So 32 people came across for that. So he had a little bay up in the stands looking at that. I thought that's a good story. Like these mid-season draftees or late season draftees, getting them on the list so late and coming in and making an impact. It's a good story.
I'm trying to think. There was a player, it might have been him, someone else who's got 8 or 9 siblings.
Michael Selwood,
that's right.
For the Bulldogs.
So that would have been up in Brisbane. I think it would have been an expensive trip for the doggies.
Well, I don't know if they fitted the bill or not, but there was 8 of the 9 siblings flew over. So if the Bulldogs didn't fit it, stiff for the family.
Yeah.
Like you're worried about your language. You're worried about your 2 mortgages. Imagine the 8 siblings coming to the desk. G'day, Dad, I just need 50K. Anyway, so well done to the Selwood and Cherry families. Dusty Martin will play for the Port Douglas Crocs in an AFL game for the first time in the Cairns League and Cairns, and it can be spelled C-A-I-N-S, but it's more likely the C-A-N-S League. On May 2nd for first competitive game since retiring. Bit of moolah on this one, I reckon.
I think they're all just moolah. I mean, is Buddy coming back to Darwin to play for love?
Buddy? No, absolutely not.
There you go. So let's acknowledge it, but let's be totally honest about the fact that they're not just giving back to the game; they're going to give back to the paying for the.
When was the sort of last gig you did for the love of the gig? Hey, seriously,
I think I'm doing one tomorrow morning. Actually.
Like not even at your mate's 70th birthday,
yes,
right? Where you were there, and you decided to take on.
Listen to you 2 idiots trying to coordinate a stitch up.
Thank you very much.
I played nothing.
So that was from your best friend's 70th birthday.
One of my best mates.
You MC'd.
Yes.
Not only did you not do it for free and the love of it,
I did.
Did you pay for drinks?
No, but no one paid for drinks.
Yeah, that's a good point. But you treated the people there with a performance. Like
it was only because I'd had the free drinks.
yeah. Notice I said treated. So don't talk to me about the love of the game, mate.
It is.
Well, you don't do anything for the love.
No, well, there's some love and there's some that deserve some invoices or cashes. Keep going.
For the cash of the game. There we go. And the last one I had was Rioli v. Rioli. So Daniel v. Morris Rioli. I think, and we think here at BackChat, that it's the first time ever at an AFL game an uncle has chased down and tackled his nephew holding the ball in an AFL game. Morris being Daniel's uncle. Morris is younger than Daniel, so it's a little bit convoluted, but that is true. I can't think of another situation that would have happened.
Nah, I mean, even trying to think of you talk of some of the father-sons that make their way in different sports and LeBron and all, but no, that is an AFL wise. You're not going to get too many. I mean, Ali Pickett, I think, played with his son at Subiaco. But yeah, that's an unusual
former
case.
Sandover medalist. We think the last time it was family on family was Brayshaw v Brayshaw. Andy chasing down Angus at the same ground in 2018, Fremantle v Melbourne. So bit of family love for good stuff only. Let's get into the previews, Skeeter. Shelter Brewing Co. beer fresh from the Busselton foreshore. All right, round 2 preview. Here's the first part of it. Gold Coast, Bulldogs, Hawthorn and Sydney all have a bye.
Ridiculous, a disgrace, 16, 17 days for some of it. It is. Almost 2.5 weeks where clubs aren't playing after 2 matches. It is a joke. It has to change next year. And that's just, I think the groundswell of support for that change will force the AFL to act next year.
Bring back Travis Auld, the mad scientist pulling the fixtures together. Maybe he's still there, I don't know. Fremantle v Richmond at Optus Stadium on Saturday. 1:15 game.
You'll need your little walrus thing there for that.
Walrus?
Well, you need your little protection tomorrow on Saturday.
Do you mean my jumper that I was wearing?
It's sort of like a jacket that you might see at a fashion festival. It's going to be wet. It's going to be bloody wet.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's sort of cyclone territory, isn't it?
It's getting up there. Narelle's on her way, baby.
Yeah, correct. So Freo are firm favourites for this one. Last time they met was at Gather Round. Fremantle defeated Richmond by over 10 goals at Barossa Park. Big stat thanks to Aspect Accountants. Freo lead the comp in contested possession differential with 15 plus per game on the opposition. So they're winning the ball inside at the moment, Fremantle, and they're providing good access to their forwards. A couple of questions, Skeeter, on this one. Probably the The ruck and the midfield for Fremantle are probably the biggest questions. No Hayden Young going forward for at least the next month, as well as Sean Darcy in the ruck. Do you change anything in there, or happy with as it sits?
Oh, I think they've clearly shown their hand. I think Justin's pretty stubborn with this. They'll give Sean as much time as they can, particularly if they're winning, to bed him in and make sure he's right to go. Mason Cox is very much a case, I think, of if Sean or Luke goes down, or if they need to, but only if necessary. So, yeah, I think Fremantle, I might be wrong, will have pretty much a clean bill of health from last week. I don't know if they lost anyone, as opposed to the Tigers who lose Toby Nankervis with a hamstring, I think it is.
Yes.
Stand corrected.
That's correct.
Tom Lynch,
yes,
also injured, I think, with a hamstring.
They can ill afford to lose those two
So
players.
those two guys are so important. We know that Lynch butchered the footy in front of goal in the match against Carlton, but he's very
my tips.
Yes. Yeah, but he's very important to them. So, yeah, look, to be honest with you, maybe the weather will bring this game back to a more neutral situation because, I mean, let's be honest, I think either side would have played in that sort of weather for a fair while. But I think the quality of the Dockers will ensure they get it done.
There's some serious selection pressure here at Fremantle now with a fit side. Brennan Walker was laid out last week. I wonder if he returns. If he does, who misses? I mean, Luke Ryan was one of their best players who came in late. You don't think he gets dropped for Brennan Walker?
No.
This sort of weather suits Walker.
It suits Walker, you think?
He's smaller.
But he gets
the best defender most weeks.
Yeah.
Best forward most weeks.
I would have thought that Lukey Ryan more suited to the. Anyway, either way, they've got a pretty healthy side, which is a great sign. And I just think it's about tweaking where required. But look, if providing there's no injury, I don't think there'd be much change, if any, for when they name their side later today.
Brennan Cox is a test. If I was Freo, they're going to win this game.
Just put him on hold.
I would put him in the waffle in the resis for 50 minutes if he needs a hit out.
Yeah, that's the other question. In all seriousness, just briefly, on Saturday, I was at the Waffle media launch, and there is discussions.
Did you host it?
No. It was just a Waffle meet. I was just helping coordinate it. But there was discussions, in all seriousness, between the Eagles and Peel, who are going to have a practice match scheduled for Saturday at MRP. So, the only issue is the match going to go ahead? If it's going to be absolutely feral, they might not play the game. Seriously. So that would preclude Brennan Cox, for instance. Like if he's a test, I don't think he's playing Waffle this week. I don't think he's ready to come back. If it's a test for me, I'm always with you.
Just run him. Is that what you're saying? Like just run him, put him in a park and get him running.
Well, whatever he can. He won't be playing footy this week. If he's a test for me, I'm saying, just as you say, they're going to beat Richmond, all things being equal, so make sure you get him right for a week or two from now.
You could make the argument that you should play him because they're going to win by that much anyway and just play him on very reduced minutes. Because it'll be a protected stadium.
You could, but unless they're absolutely 100% guaranteed that he's going to get through, I just don't see any need to. And wouldn't you go a bit smaller if required under these circumstances?
I just don't think they're going to be challenged at all. We both pick Fremantle?
Yep, indeed.
Okay, move on. Port Adelaide v West Coast at Adelaide Oval on
Sunday morning. 9:30. So if you have a big night Saturday night, you might still be a bit Swahili by the time you turn on the TV or listen to the radio.
What are you doing Saturday night, Rhoda? Give us a little bit of microphone over there. You got something planned Saturday night?
I think just a quiet one, much like last week's Schoey. I mean, I came in at midday to Optus and I looked fresh as, didn't I?
Rhoda looked like he just crawled out of bed when I saw him. And was that potentially the case?
Well,
or do you just run a rinse through the hair? It gets very fluffy, your hair.
It does. I don't
it's luscious.
I just, I'd had endless beers at the Freo game the night before and I've launched into them.
Okay,
so.
perfect. Yeah, great.
Aren't we just great role models for this young man? We're teaching him how to go to the footy, get on the gas, and then back up the next day.
Speak for yourself, Skeeter. I'm a well-oiled machine these
boring
days.
Boring as batshit you are.
Port Adelaide West Coast. We know this is Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. So, goodness me, wake up early. West Coast old social post. Get up. That's coming through at about. Get up. It's game day. It's 7 a.m.
Just a quick question: What do players have in Adelaide before they head to the ground? Because I know it's a midday start. Will they have just breakfast, or how does that work out?
I once. I know this is insertion, but I once played a game and it was not. Well, it might have been. It was like an 11:30 operation against the Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium. I once rolled down out of bed, shower, got ready, got my bag on, straight in the elevator to the bus at it would have been 10 o'clock. No preparation whatsoever. Like it was sort of out of bed and onto the bus within 17 minutes.
Are you working on Perth time back then or not? Do you remember working on Perth?
No, I used to always just look at the local time.
Adjust.
Game day, the reason I slept in so much was I just used to sleep until I woke up, and I'd have an alarm like last minute, and I think the alarm woke me up because in the end, I don't know if waking up early on Perth time sort of fixes anything. It's like, if you're tired, you're tired, aren't you?
Get the sleep if you can.
Yeah, correct. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think it's a big advantage to Port Adelaide for what it's worth because if you work out those times, if it starts at 9:30 a.m, you're meant to, your body clock is meant to be up 4 hours before playing to get your system into an elite performance area. 4 hours is general rule of thumb. So if West Coast players do that, that's a 5:30 wake up.
Or 8 o'clock wake up.
It is, but they're only there for 24 hours. So Perth time, 5:30. I think it's an advantage to Port Adelaide. Last time they met, Port Adelaide defeated West Coast at Adelaide Oval, round 18, 87-61. This is the one where Harley and Jason Horne-Francis were going toe-to-toe.
The old, wasn't so much crybaby, but the old,
Hang on a
boy.
second.
Mummy's boy, yeah.
Correct. So
Mate, the AFL makes up these rules on the run,
So that isn't, I'm not pulling you up, but Harley Reid, I'm fairly sure, was saying you're mummy's boy and you gave him the tears and you want to go home and you're sooking it up.
No, of course he did.
So why didn't he get fined
Because
for that?
the AFL, and we've seen it this year,
Well done, Scott.
on the run. And I reckon Greg Swan's a ripper, but on the run is what they do. Band on the run.
Man on the run.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, Paul McCartney, Wings.
Is it man or band?
Band.
Suspicious, but the big stat, thanks to Aspect, West Coast have lost their last 10 games at the Adelaide Oval by an average of 64 points. Again, some of these stats, you could roll that against most ovals in the country with West Coast the way they've been going. Milan Murdoch, big news, out with a hamstring. I've given him the 3 votes in both games they've played. Had a little bit of awareness post-game on the field.
Mate, he had half-time, I was told. Had it at half-time. He had that, and he actually, I was speaking to someone yesterday at this who knows pretty much the ins and outs.
Was it Milan?
No, it wasn't, but it was a bloke that should know.
Okay.
That he had that injury essentially at half-time. And look, ran out the game pretty well.
How tough is he? Look, that says that it's a minor one, but again, if you're wondering how long it's going to be, it's a 21-day injury. Sandy Brock, potential to come back in.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, I like him, and I think it would shore up a little bit of where it's going with no Harry Edwards there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of Port. Last time I saw them against North, they had Whitlock as a forward of sorts. Georgiades is the main guy.
He's the man. Jimby goes to him, I think, given what he did against Larky.
Yeah, tell you what, Jimby, he's going to be tired boy by the end of the year with all these monsters on his case.
Well, he's put on size. I think he's ready for it. I think they just lock him in.
Yeah, they do. But just, in a better side, if he was at, say, the Brisbane Lions, where would...
Well, he would be Starcevic almost.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. Yeah.
What Starcevic was, and now Starcevic is back in West Coast.
He's injured.
I mean, where's he? I can't see his name
still
anywhere.
a couple of weeks away. He keeps saying to me a couple of weeks. We do the interview, and he says, no, a couple of weeks. So.
Couple of weeks. Yeah, it'd be nice for a little bit of eyes on there at West Coast, but clearly they're hiding what's actually going on there. Well, they are.
Okay.
Well, they are. We'll just come out and say what's wrong. Have you had a setback? Is something going on? Because if you look at their reporting publicly, he was a week away, 5 weeks ago. So something's happened and they haven't reported on it. So there we go. West Coast in the gun too. Connor Rozee is out for 3 to 4 months with his hamstring injury. That's terrible. I hate seeing the best players in the comp injured. I hate anyone being injured, but he's their captain, arguably their best player, along with Butters and Horne-Francis. So that's a huge miss for them, given where they are at their footy club, and given Zach Butters' rumoured moves out of the footy club. Not a good result for Port Adelaide.
No, and look, I think we've got to bear in mind who they beat last week, Port Adelaide.
So they beat the Dons. They had 165 marks. It was the most marks by any team since 2021. Melbourne, I mean, goodness me, that's just that is sorry, not Melbourne. Essendon. I said Melbourne. Essendon. They played Essendon.
Yes, they did.
Essendon are a basket case. We know that. That's proven and spoken about. But that's dreadful play. So we don't know where Port Adelaide really sits. I think it's an interesting game.
Yeah, look, if I read this stat out to you, you'd probably think that Eagles are going to be given a bit of a touch-up as well. The Eagles have lost their last 10 matches in Adelaide, at the Adelaide Oval, dating back to 2022 by an average losing margin of 64 points.
Which we said off the top, which was Aspect's accountant's stat of the match.
That's one you can't ignore.
It's switched on today.
Skeeter, you just verbatim You just verbatim read what I read.
Do you reckon you haven't done it to me where I've just switched? I do switch off a fair bit during this podcast.
Yeah, and I'm sure our listeners do as well. Skeet, I've got something interesting that I'm just sort of pulling together as we speak.
Okay.
Port Adelaide's backline, Radigalia and Alir. Outside of that, they're tall backs. They've got 2 tall backs, and they're 2 bigger guys. But then West Coast have 4 tall forwards.
So they could stretch them there, you think?
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Good point.
I don't think they really have a third tall at Port. Maybe someone I'm missing here, but overall, I think it's a pretty. You know what? I just lied. Todd Marshall. Todd Marshall's back there now.
No, and to be fair to you, Marshall's only just gone back this year, so we saw him in the pre-season.
Yeah, so they've actually got they've got the back line.
They have got the back line, and Marshall and I didn't see all the game against North, but I wonder whether Marshall, if required, goes forward to give. Georgiades a chop out.
No, they're locking him in as a backman for a couple of reasons. They like his intercepting ability, but they like the fact that he's a good kick, good user. They want the ball in his hands, which like some tall backs, you just don't. You know, there'd be a number of people I could reel off that they just want to give a little handball around the back. And, you know, Sam Collins, one of the best defenders in the league. I don't think you want him giving the ball to John Noble at Gold Coast. You don't want him with the footy. So I do think it's a close game, this one, Skeeter. I'm going to pick Port Adelaide because it's at Port Adelaide, and I do think the timing is significant. The 9:30 start I don't think is conducive to good performance for West Coast. I'll pick Port.
Yeah, Port, you've just got to look at their record in Adelaide for the Eagles. And look, they'll have their ups and downs.
No Rosé, no Bergman.
No, absolutely. I have no question that they've got a shot at it, but I just wonder whether they can. I thought North were terrible after quarter time last week, and I think Port will be better for a lot longer.
Yep, I agree, Skeeter. We're on tune here with our picking. Geelong v Adelaide tonight, GMHBA Stadium. Thursday night footy heads to Geelong. They'll be happy with that one. Geelong firm favourites in this, which is somewhat surprising.
It's more about the outs for Adelaide. It's more about the outs. And there's that much experience missing that you really, the markets and you can't ignore it.
So those outs are Kel Archer from a couple of weeks ago, Rory Laird done with a calf, Jordan Dawson misses with a calf, and Tex Walker is being managed. They're the 3 most senior players.
So Dawson, Laird,
and Walker.
Yeah. And Archie, of course. So 4 in total. Yeah. And so, yeah, on that basis, I think that's where, and they've lost their past 14. I hope you haven't mentioned that one already, but lost their past 14 at GMHBA Stadium.
That is the big stat, thanks to Aspect. Skeeter's on here.
We're just on the same wavelength, Skeeter. This is good.
Because you don't read the run sheet that we sort of provide for this show.
Do I get one, do I? No, but I do cover footy a bit during the week, so I've sort of got a rough idea what's going on.
That is correct. Danger to miss with a calf, though, so they're missing some seniority. He hasn't been right at all.
No, he hasn't played a lot of footy, to be totally honest.
They're coming off the bye too, Geelong.
And their record historically hasn't been great off the bye.
No, it hasn't.
But
yes, the Crows were criticised for 3/4 of the game last week for playing too slow. You'd think that with those big players out, they're just going to throw caution to the wind a little bit, which could make it a little bit high scoring. I've liked the form early of Max Holmes, Bailey Smith. I think they've both been strong contributors, especially last in the game against Fremantle 2 weeks ago. Coming off the bye and Adelaide coming off a big game against the Bulldogs, I think evens it up.
6-day break as well.
I'm just going to go home ground advantage to Geelong in a pretty tight one.
Yeah, I think those outs are significant, and I agree with you. I think Crows won't fall into the trap of playing conservatively. I think that's their best chance of winning. But Geelong play the ground so well. And I am concerned about that, whatever it is, 15, 16 days between matches. But I think they will be able to find a way to win the game. And yeah, we saw them outside of one quarter against the Dockers and that game against the Gold Coast. I think they'll build as the season progresses.
I like Friday night footy. You're picking Geelong? Yes.
I am, yes.
Good Friday night game. Collingwood v GWS at Marvel Stadium. Normal Friday night timing. How's the weather looking, Skeet, for that game?
Well, it's a bit of rain tonight in Geelong, but it doesn't really matter tomorrow night.
Yes, why's that?
Because they've got a roof that can close.
Thank you very much. Last time they met, round 0 last year. So they haven't played for a full 12 months here, Skeet. 104-52. GWS, if you remember, absolutely smacked them at NG Stadium, and everyone was saying Collingwood's done and in the bin, and then they fought back and did well. Big stat thanks to Aspect. GWS are minus 17 and Collingwood minus 7 in centre bounce clearances so far, the worst and second worst in the league. So the centre bounce clearance differentials have been poor for both of these sides. It'll be interesting to see what the midfield battle looks like. Does Toby Bedford return and tag Dacos? I bloody hope so, because Nick Dacos for the first couple of weeks of the season just ran around doing whatever he felt like. And I think if you're going to beat Collingwood, you need to pay him some attention, and it can't be a team effort on him. You've got to have someone who's responsible for him, Skeeter.
I agree. Look, Collingwood's a real territory team. And I think there's a real opening here for the Giants. If they had some more of their players available, I'd have more confidence in them. The forward line for Collingwood now, the stat escapes me to some degree, but their last 5 games, I think, they've averaged 11 goals or 12 maximum, which under the current AFL setup, you know, teams are kicking 16, 15, 16 regularly. So their scoring power and their key forwards, to me, the role players, not doing what they need to.
So the last 2 games, the first 2 games of the season, they've scored just 78 and 79 points, thanks to Aspect Accountants. Do they need to tinker with what they're doing in front of the footy? Jack Buller, of course, coming across from Sydney. Dan McStay and Tim Membry are the sort of 3 big, you know. We know this about Collingwood. They don't have the superstar forward line. They're role players, and they've lost Myercheck.
And bear in mind, Bobby Hill's on his way back. He's back at the club. Lockie Schultz is a great barometer for that forward pressure.
But he's not yet.
He's not.
He's just a barometer. He's an energy guy.
Yeah, but what he does do is he creates opportunity. So you mark him down for a couple of goals a week. But yeah, you need Buller. Of course, we played some footy at Claremont in the Waffle. You need Buller. McStay's looks like whether his best footy's behind him, not sure. Same with Membry. I just have a concern about the forward strike power of the Pies.
Yeah, I think that's a good watch, Skeeter. They will be without Jack Buckley, GWS, after suffering a concussion on the siren last week.
It was right at the death, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is disappointing for him. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. So Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe expected to return, which is a bit of experience behind the footy. There'll be some debutants in this one. Oscar Steen, 201 centimetre ruckman for Collingwood, and GWS's first-round pick of 2024, Ollie Hannaford, as a medium forward, a couple of first gamers in this skate. Tell us about Ollie.
I've never heard of either of them, to be brutally honest, but I'm sure I'll get my eyes on them.
Have a ripping game, boys. We wish you the best here from the Shout of FootyCast. Looking forward to see what you're really made of. I will pick...
I'll pick Collingwood while you're pontificating.
What's that mean?
Well, it's sort of just delaying. Pontificating.
Delaying.
Pontificating is just taking a long time to make a quick decision. I say that to my wife all the time. Stop pontificating about buying that birthday card. Just pick one and go.
You are by definition a pontificator. Like you are. Well, you think you're a quick time decision maker, do you? Mate, you're a pontificator.
No, I'm a barnacle. I'm a barnacle. If I'm happy with somewhere, I'm not moving. Pick a team.
Wasn't it a different P word that you were last week, Skeeter?
Oh, you wrote it.
What? What's he saying?
Sorry, sex worker, not...
Okay.
Your use of the word letter P has sort of been strong over the last couple of weeks. I'll pick... I don't know.
Just hurry up with the next game, because we do things have got to happen today for a lot of people.
I'll pick Collingwood because it's at home.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Which they don't play the ground that well, to be honest. I think they're better at the MCG.
Oh, should I pick GWS then?
Why not?
I'm going to take you on.
Show some courage.
I'll take GWS, you dickheads.
They'll probably win.
Saints v Lions at Marvel Stadium. I reserve the right to change that tip before bounce down. I do reserve that right, if that's okay. Saints v Lions. Remember, we've got a Homewise Solar guarantee of the week, Skeeter.
Yeah, that's true.
Make sure you've got that sort of up. I know you would have done a lot of preparation and planned and brought that to the table, because that's what you do. Saints v Lions at Marvel Stadium Saturday, 9:30 a.m. again Saturday. Is that right? No, that's not right.
Yeah, it's Saturday morning.
Is it?
Yeah, it's early.
Why are we doing this? Why is it so early? Yeah, but we've got like 7 teams on a bye. Put them in a good time.
Brisbane Lions are reigning champs, getting shafted and put again. And we talk about the WA clubs. The Brisbane Lions get donuts.
So they're under the roof at Marvel. Last time they met, Brisbane defeated St Kilda 118-73. A big stat thanks to Aspect. Brisbane have won the last 7 games between these two sides. Again, Brisbane have probably won the last 2 games against most sides with what they've done. These two clubs have had a bit of an off-field feud. The Saints complaining about Northern Academies and their president and CEO, I think, sort of coming out and saying they get too much benefit out of it, and Ross and Chris Fagan going head to head.
Yeah, they both did press conferences this morning, and Chris Fagan gave a lengthy explanation about where he's coming from, not necessarily having a go at the Saints, but just in general the way free agency and contracts are going. So he tried to water that down.
Is this Ross sort of Nepo? Is that what
I think the Nepo baby is at the Gold Coast.
Sorry.
So it's another target that he's got in Queensland.
Well, so Ross just does everything to avoid criticism and focus on his football club.
Yeah, anyway.
I mean, they're a goal away from being 0-3 from last week. Imagine if they were rolling into this 0-3. They'd be 0-4 after this because Brisbane will win this.
Yeah, either way, the Saints, despite the recruiting they've done, they're still very much a work in progress. But good win to them last week, but under the lid with a couple of key lines back.
Yep, Zach Bailey, Darcy Gardner, but no McCluggage.
No, he wouldn't have thought so with the calf. He's might be a couple of weeks away if he's got the calf. Yep. And Harris Andrews is still, round 5 before we see him again?
That is correct.
Brisbane for me.
Yeah, key defender Anthony Caminiti is out with a hamstring, so he's another one to add to that.
I think St Kilda will give a bit of cheek though in this one.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to, but again, I think 1-3 Saints is probably about right. 0-3 Lions, if they did lose this, wouldn't feel right. I'm going to pick the Lions though as well. In prime time Saturday night football, in an absolute blockbuster of two teams that couldn't find quality footy if it slapped them in the face. Essendon v North Melbourne at Marvel. How many games are at Marvel?
There's 2 in one day, I think.
Yeah,
in 24 hours.
It's a doubleheader at Melbourne.
And nothing at the MCG either Thursday,
there?
Friday.
Some sort of concert.
No,
Harry Styles in town.
No, I don't think there's anything. So yeah, the fixturing has been bizarre.
Suspicious minds sort of rolling out. Could
do you reckon how many more times before I get copyright and send out a letter of warning?
From who? Elvis?
I went to Graceland, so I'll just see if
Essendon North, I mean, goodness me. I mean, these two sides.
It's interesting, though, because Essendon, after where they're at last 2 weeks, North Melbourne, both these clubs, it's almost like morbid fascination watching these two clubs go about it.
Last time they met, 9 goals 11-65 to 9 goals 8-62. So both kicked under 10 goals in a battle of the battlers. And this is exactly what this is. A big stat thanks to Aspect. Essendon's pressure factor last week was its second lowest ever on record. And its pressure factor in the fourth quarter was the second lowest ever by any team in the history of stats. I mean, how are you going, Essendon? Their coach, Brad Scott, came out and said that they're demoralised. We've heard that the players are having player-only meetings. Well, boys, why? It's round 2. How are you demoralised and lacking confidence after 2 rounds? You've played 2 games of footy. They've worked an entire pre-season, and that feels like it's in the bin. That's what this feels like. They've lost Mason Redmond, who was amongst a scattering of half-decent players that play for Essendon. He's gone. They are nowhere, Essendon, and I think North Melbourne wins this because of it. Both sides, you're right, have something to prove. George Wardlaw could return. Griffin Logue will be out 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring injury. Chuck him in the mix for hamstrings gone. I think North win this, Skeet, but North was so poor against West Coast. Their work rate was dreadful, but so Essendon's is worse, if that's possible. Don't
discount North coming back, 6-day break, playing in pretty warm conditions.
Essendon.
No. I'm just saying, I think, and look, Essendon's got an amazing record against North. I think they've won their past 12, you'll be able to tell me?
No, I can't tell you.
Oh, that was... I mean, if you want stats, we're talking important stats here.
Where are you pulling that from?
I read, I hear, I've got this sort of innate knowledge of what happens.
I read and I hear. Do you mean you listen?
Where are you getting your stuff from?
From a run sheet made by Ronan.
Yeah, exactly. So you're the same as me. I'm just saying I know that they've won at least, might be 12 in a row against North Melbourne going back many years. And Ronan, if he's got any ability, we'll be able to get that up in about 30 seconds.
Ronan's got the clip as well. Well, okay, so who are you picking? It sounds like you're picking Essendon.
No, I'm picking North. I can't, Essendon, not for me. And Nick Larkey, again, will just have a fun day out.
So for these two sides, like you literally couldn't pick either, but you have to pick one.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's just horrendous what we've seen. North Melbourne, though, on talent, have got them covered.
Yes,
you're actually right, Skeeter. I think I've counted 12 here, 12 in a row.
What do you mean you're actually right? I know I'm right.
All right, we're both taking North Melbourne. Carlton v Melbourne at the MCG on Sunday, Skeeter. There will be some clouds and some low winds, apparently. So very interesting sort of stuff here. Carlton defeated Melbourne in a blockbuster again, 12 goals, 6-10-10, 78-70. Big stat thanks to Aspect. Carlton have won the last 4 against the D's by an average of just 4 points, Skeeter. Carlton's first game since the re-signing of Jagger Smith, which seems to be the only bit of good news they'll receive all year. Jagger's signed on for how many years, do we know? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. You should sign him. He looks a good player.
He's a good player. Unfortunately for them, no Adam Chera. He's still out with the injury, the hamstring, I think it is.
Yes.
And Nick Newman's also got to wait another week. So this is a tough game because Melbourne, we know that Melbourne were poor against the Dockers, but they showed glimpses and they were good in round 1. Yeah, it's a really tough one. Carlton's, these games, if you look through it, historically, the last 5 or 6 have been decided by a kick or less, pretty much. So, I always, Carlton to me probably have slightly more talent, but their second half fade-outs give me concern. So this is probably as equal to any match that is tough to tip this weekend.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of interest in this game. I'm just going to pick, Carlton because they didn't have to travel to Perth. Who are you picking? I wasn't listening.
I'll pick Melbourne on the basis that Carlton, even if they're in front at half time, they'll get the shakes.
Shelter Brewing Co. beer fresh from the Busselton foreshore. Sorry, Ron. You're snacking on over there. Sort of, you're opening up a packet of chips or something. What was happening?
No, I'm locked in. I got my water bottle. I got my.
Sorry about that. Just threw a sting without you listening along. Stephen, on the emails, if you want to get something to us, please get in contact. Love to hear from you. You can contact us on Instagram, show the FootyCast. You can send us an email, footycast@backchatstudios.com.au, or just comment in the YouTube below. Stephen says, okay. Hey, fellas. Skeet, you listen to this. 20 years ago, I met a girl in high school who became my girlfriend, then became my wife, and now the mother of our children. 18 months prior to meeting her, Essendon won a final against the Demons. Since then, the footy gods have deemed that I have had too many good things in life and are torturing me by making Essendon drain the football happiness I could have. When we had our first child, my wife, who's an Eagles fan, and I decided to let him choose his own team. For the first few years, he said he goes for the Eagles and Essendon. When our second son came along at the age of 3, he decided to go for the Swans. So my oldest son at 5 said he now goes for the Lions. I thought maybe I could get one of my twin daughters to go for Essendon, but no, they have chosen Fremantle and the Suns. So now, 8 years on for having our first kid, I have no one to help me support Essendon. And to make matters worse, I'm currently sitting in traffic, leaving the Eagles game with my 6-year-old Swan-supporting son singing "See the Bombers Fly Down, Down to Lose the Premiership Flag," and telling me the Bombers are at the bottom of the ladder. Please give me some positive Essendon feedback that I can hold on to for what is going to be a long year. Yours sincerely, dying inside, Stephen.
Stephen. It's we need
twin daughters.
Twin daughter. He needs to maybe not go to us for advice. You either go to your local priest or a counsellor or someone just to help you through these times. But mind you, I barrack for a team wearing red and black, and we haven't won a flag since '77. So I can feel your pain, brother.
Do you have a local priest you go and chat to about severe issues? Are you religious?
I'm Catholic, and I do go occasionally, but I do pray. But without going to church, if you know what I get.
Yeah,
I mean.
you pray for your multi to get
I pray for the health of my family and friends, even you at times, because you deserve some thoughts from above.
Some higher power.
You need some help from above.
But do you ever pray for a win, or an investment to get up?
Not really, but I do. Ever? But no, I don't pray for a win. But if I get rolled in a close one, I'll look up and say, "Is there any danger? Any danger, mate? I've been pretty good this week.
This week,
pretty well behaved." Anyway,
Matthew says this in Schoey and Skeeter. Would like to hear your take on this BS. Does the AFL not care about non-Victorian fans? We do appreciate you can. So he emailed this to Channel 7 regarding why Freo game was delayed on Freo out. Maybe you can answer it, because I don't know.
Yeah, it's part of the broadcast deal.
We do appreciate your concern. Sorry, I wrote it. I'm a little bit lost. Hang on.
Yeah, so Matthew emailed Channel 7, why is the game delayed on free-to-air? And then their response, of course, is detailing the broadcast rights. So I think Matthew is pretty unhappy about the way that the broadcast rights are detailed.
So this is Channel 7's reply. We do appreciate your concerns. The following may help explain the current broadcasting rights and what it means regarding Saturday telecast, which it was last week. Super Saturday for at least the first 8 rounds of the season. All matches that occur on a Saturday will be exclusively live nationally on Foxtel and Kayo. For Saturday matches, a local market match will be held back by 120 minutes from the bounce. For Saturday night matches, the matches will be held back by 90 minutes from the bounce or 8:35 p.m. local time, whichever is earlier. Each non-Victorian team will continue to have every match they play available in their local market on free-to-air. Now, additionally, it was 7+ online. However, the Super Saturday matches noted above will be subject to that short delay. That's
pretty well explained, I've got to say. And look, it's because Fox pay more money, and so they are trying to obviously leverage that to get more subscribers in WA, for instance. I'm sure the same applies in South Australia. So as frustrating as that is, I will maintain that in this country with AFL, in brief, is that we have the option of pay, which is terrific. They do a great job, Fox. We have 7 doing the number of games, whether it's 3 or 4 during the course of a weekend. You go to the States, you go to the UK when it comes to their big competitions, the NFL. We've got, obviously, the EPL is the best example where you can't watch anything on free-to-wear. It's all subscriber paid. So I think we're pretty blessed, even though we don't think we are, but I understand the frustrations as well. If you either don't have the money for KO or Fox or your pension or whatever it is, I do understand the frustration attached to it, but that's the broadcast deal as it stands.
Just in lieu of Skeeter to get to work, we're going to pump some of these emails to Monday, Ronan, because there's some good ones here, but we're going to just bump down to YouTube comments from Monday. Opinions on Paddy Voss and Skeeter, because I'm assuming you're holding it to the very end of the episode.
I've got it, yeah.
Homewise Solar, guarantee of the week. I'd like to give mine out right now.
Yeah.
Patrick Voss to kick 4 goals and to have a big game in response to the public attention.
He kicks 4.
4+ goals. That's all right.
They could outscore Richmond in those conditions on Saturday.
Guarantee of the week, Patrick Voss. The Fremantle Football Club will be looking to support him by, I think, giving him a couple of cheapies, making sure he's well looked after. And the best way to do that isn't to go and ruffle up feathers or to signal anything to the AFL. It's to help him play well. So I think he kicks 4 goals on the weekend.
Can I be as bold to say I don't think Richmond will even kick 7 goals for the day?
So your Homewise guarantee of the week, not that you don't think, you guarantee.
Yes, guarantee it.
Homewise Solar guarantee of the week. Mark Rennie said Richmond kick under 7 goals.
Under 7 goals.
So
you want something bold?
So 6
Is
and
that
a half.
bold?
Yeah, it is. It's about time. Not bald, but bold.
That's it. Yeah, well, you know how much time I put into this guarantee?
A lot. Yeah, well, you should.
It's going to be really tough conditions. So I think the Dockers can restrict them to 6 goals or less.
And Paddy Voss kicks over half of their score.
Yes.
Okay.
We're coming from different planets, aren't we?
So these are opinions
They'll
on
probably kick
Voss.
6 in the first quarter.
Pretty strong, I think, across radio and across everywhere, so socials and things. People pretty split on this one, I think, by sounds of things, with Voss and the taunting in the AFL. These are a couple from YouTube. In almost any other instance, I love the taunting, but understanding what Voss was referencing, I don't mind the sanction. I can probably see it that way too. A general comment at a player's on-field performance or their club is fine, but what Zorko said to Petty was well outside of that, and Voss should have known better than to bring it up. I'm assuming most people know this. It was pretty well covered, but Zorko had made comments to Petty about issues within a family member's marriage, which is why it upset Petty. Tell me where that kind of comment has a place in any other kind of sport or competition in general. You want to call someone shit, make fun of their team, even bring their personal issues into it, fine, but don't drag players' families into these things.
Who's that?
That is...
Sorry, it was a YouTube handle. So it was a bunch of letters.
Anyway, I've been seeing that sort of song, or coming from that angle all week, agreeing with you on a lot of it. But I think if it gets to your family in that circumstance, the health of a family member, if someone did that to me, I've got no issue with going after them and being really, really fired up about it.
You could add the fourth along with religion, race, sexuality and family. You're probably at it, and I'm happy to take that on board. Although we still haven't heard what Patrick Voss... I mean, from what I've seen, I watched
He said he didn't understand the context of the crybaby stuff.
Which wouldn't surprise me, because I don't reckon Paddy Voss would under the context of many things. He's just a meat of potatoes operator.
No,
mate.
turn it up.
He is.
Mate.
He is, mate.
No. See, I reckon that's
you're not
being
copping that.
naive.
So Mason Cox standing the mark, you wouldn't cop that? Really?
No, well, I'm telling you. So how many times... He's obviously seen other players do this to Harrison Petty.
Yes, and I think he's sort of simple enough to go, we can. That's the thing we get into him for. I mean, he was rubbing his head because he was bald. You saw that too, right?
That's fine. Yeah, but that's a simple one. But the
this is the thing, mate.
you're being very, very generous.
Yeah, but does he need to pull the notebook out and go, I can do the rubbing head thing.
No,
I can't call him
you're
fat,
saying he had no idea why players do that. Players aren't that stupid.
Well, some forwards are, Skeet, I'll let you know. Footy media pundits and fans claim to want characters in the game, then those same people promote something that would take characters away. Taunting and banter in the game is what makes footy and sports in general much more entertaining. Trying to get under the skin of the opposition to get them off their game isn't just a tactic. It's part of the passion. It also engages the crowd when they witness it, makes everyone want to win the game even more. If you can't handle a bit of fun and banter on the field, then maybe you're watching the wrong game, and in the wrong country for that matter, since us Aussies love to stir each other up for fun. If the AFL are seriously trying to weed this stuff out of our game, then we are really softer than we already are. That is from Unknown on YouTube. Skeet, we're going to keep moving, get you to work, mate. Get the spreadsheet filled. I think we'll finish up there. Some comments on Instagram as well. Keep them coming for the comment of the week, Skeeter, and the contribution of the week. It's going to go to our man, Stephen, off the top of today's show. He's got 4 kids. No one goes to the Bombers. He's been supporting Bombers since he was married to his wife, with absolutely no hope in sight. I genuinely hope his marriage is going better than his football team, and I think we can help that with a carton of shelter on.
Perfect, and that'll ease him through a weekend of watching the Bombers get absolutely poleaxed most weeks.
Working footy this weekend as we wrap up, Skeeter?
Yeah, tonight's game on radio. Got Saturday's game at Optus. I'm not sure whether you're jumping on board for Fox or 6PR, or you just got a day off, so that's nice. You can do that. And then I've got Sunday morning bright and early with you to do Port Adelaide West Coast on radio.
It would surprise you that I'm looking forward to doing that game with you. It should be a bit of fun. We might turn the Shelter FootyCast into a bit of a broadcaster, or just a little bit of banter, mate.
Yeah, well, Jacko's going to be there.
Talk shit about you being bald or having grey hair, or your dress sense. Because, if the AFL stepped into a Shelter FootyCast, or sort of our relationship, you and me, there'd be a lot of fines being handed out.
Well, you'd be fined more than I.
Would I?
Oh, some of your stuff is it's pretty.
I think pretty sure you said I look like a fuckwit when I walked in today.
No, I said, what the F are you wearing?
There we go. shelterfootycast.com.au. Get some beers into over the weekend. Thanks to our supporters, our sponsors. Homewise Solar, bringing you, of course, the guarantees of the week. Paddy Voss and Richmond shit. Voss good. And, of course, Aspect Accountants for the numbers this week. Thanks to Grounded. Thanks to Shelter. Have a great weekend.
See you guys.